Hey guys, my name's Sam and welcome to Prepmedic. In this week's video, we're taking a look at the vest that I wear as a tactical paramedic. Alright guys, before we get started, I need to give you guys a little bit of background about the team I'm on. I'm on what's called SWAT, which is the Special Operations Response Team. We are a team that attaches to several different SWAT agencies, and we also do SAR, dive rescue, and some high-angle rescue. So we are pretty multifaceted. Now, while we do attach to the SWAT teams, we are an unarmed component, which is relatively common for TEMS units around the nation. So you will not see any ammo pouches or anything like this on this vest. We are pretty well guarded by the SWAT team when we do make entry, and we are never really left alone. So that is part of the role I'm fulfilling here. Back in Iowa, I was an armed member of the entry team, so it has changed slightly. Now, if you guys haven't seen the video I did on my third line gear, so my medical backpack, or my first line gear, which is my belt, I would highly suggest you do so because most everything on this vest is designed to complement those two kits, which is why not absolutely every medical device I could possibly need is on this vest, and they kind of all work together. One other thing I should mention is that we are also issued plate carriers for missions that need a little bit of a lighter weight kit, such as our manhunts. I'll definitely be doing a video on my plate carrier down the road, so stay tuned for that. So starting with the vest. This vest is the Siege-R optimized by First Spear. First Spear makes some really high quality tactical products, and you'll actually recognize the name of this vest because I actually owned this in Iowa while I was a reserve deputy on their entry team. Coming here, I really liked it, so I decided to pick up another one, but I did have to get it in the multicam color to adhere to my department policies, and then I've also added the bicep protection, which we'll talk about in a second. One thing people always ask me is, do I buy my own gear or does my department issue it? And the answer is both. So my department and every department I've been on has always issued me what I need to start. And generally that gear is relatively cheap and it's pretty heavily used simply because budgets are not super huge. So you'll actually see the vest that my current company issued me is back there, and that's a ProTech Tactical entry vest. It's pretty old and it's pretty heavy. Now, being a YouTuber and somebody that reviews a lot of gear, I have the honor and privilege of being able to get my hands on a little bit nicer equipment. So as long as it adheres to department policy, I am able to upgrade my gear as I see fit. So I decided to go with this guy. Like I said, this is a Siege-R optimized. And then you'll notice on the shoulders, these are increased shoulder pads. These actually have ballistic protection in them. And then I've added these bicep protectors. This is called the MASS system. So it's a modular system that First Spear sells to go on this vest and one of their plate carriers. I had to get these bicep protectors because of my department. One of the huge misconceptions about these is that these are actually not for your arm. They're actually for your thoracic cavity. So I don't really care that much if my arm gets hit, but while this is sitting right here, nobody can shoot me from the side and get into the thoracic cavity. That's the theory, at least. There's a lot of debate in the tactical community about these. Anytime you add armor, you're also adding weight. And weight's gonna slow you down, make you less mobile. So there are definitely people that really hate these. I personally don't mind it, especially in this role, not being armed. I don't have to shoulder a weapon, anything like that. May as well have the extra protection on them. These shoulder pads are super important because these actually protect your subclavian artery, which runs right under your clavicle. If that gets shot, you're gonna bleed out very quickly, and it's very hard to stop the blood flow from it. So just a little bit of added protection. You can also get the MASS system with a neck protector, both front and back, and then a groin protector if you do need that extra bit of protection. I personally do not need it on this team. It's not required. So I've decided to save the weight and not put any of that on here. You'll notice on this vest, this still has the quick release tube system. So you can take the shoulders and the side. If you pull one and then the other, this vest will fall right off you, which is a really nice system to have. No matter what brand of armor you have, you should have some kind of quick release so that somebody can get you out of it if you're injured and they need to start treating bleeding or do a quick assessment on you. All right, so coming to the front of the vest, I have an identification patch here. This is by Patch Panel. Both the front and back patches are by them. They do partner with the channel, so if you're interested in picking this up or customizing your own patch, this is a discount code for you. I believe it gets you 20% off and it helps you support the channel. But here just identifies me as a paramedic, TEMS, and then my A number there, which is basically my employee ID number. Coming down here to the front of the vest, I carry 4 main items. So I have 2 of the Blue Force Gear Tourniquet Now pouches, which I really like these. As you pull this tab, it just kind of lets the tourniquet come down. You can pull the tourniquet out, use it, very easy to use, and then stows and protects the tourniquet without making it difficult to come out. On the left, I have their trauma kit now. So this is one of their kits. You just open it by pulling this tab, pulling that whole flap out, and then it kind of lays all of your material out in front of you and it holds quite a lot. So I really like using this. And I've used it on several kits. I've got a couple of these that I kind of pack myself. So in here, I've got a number of different items. So in here, I've got my combat gauze, my quick clot. I've got the North American Rescue Z-fold gauze, and then these are both used for packing wounds. However, if I've already used this, now I can use this as a secondary gauze or for another injury if I have to. I've got an eye shield at the top for protecting eye injuries, a little bit of medical tape, which is really, really versatile. Coming down to the bottom, I've got 2 pairs of the Talon gloves by North American Rescue, and then an ARS needle for the needle decompressions. This one's one of the 10 gauge versions. Behind here, I actually have one of the flat fold trauma bandages from North American Rescue, and then I have a set of hyphen chest seals as well. Like I said at the beginning of this video, this all supplements what's on my belt. So this will get me through the march algorithm or most of it. And then I have a little bit more on my belt for advanced airways and some other items. So this is a really nice pouch. I really like it. Really easy to take out. I think my one complaint with it is that it's not completely intuitive to get back in. So it is pretty easy, but if I was, really stressed and I wanted to take this with me, it would probably take me a second to pack that back up in the vest where it can be carried easily. On the right side here, this is one of First Spear's general purpose pouches. And then basically what I've done is I've taken all of the supplies from my Triad Medical Training's Canine First Aid Kit and I put it in here. We work with a lot of canine teams, which is awesome, but as a medic, I have to be prepared to treat those dogs if one of them gets injured. Generally, the canine handler will handle that. However, if the dog's injured, there's also a chance he's injured. So if I get stuck with the dog and somebody else is taking care of him, I am able to intervene. So in here, I've got a couple different things. In the front pocket, I have the Ready Warrior Canine Quick Reference Guide, which is an awesome thing to have because I'm not an expert, I'm not a vet. I won't always know how to treat a dog or what's going on. So this just kind of walks you through the assessment and treatment of common injuries and illnesses you'll see with working dogs. I keep that right in the front pocket to kind of keep it separated. Coming down here into the main pocket, this is a divided stash pocket. In the front, I have a muzzle that does fit the dogs on the team. I have a thermometer to look for heat exhaustion, heat stroke, and this is good on mission or on training. Basically all of this is. A pair of hemostats, and then in the main pocket, I have a SWAT-T. So I use a SWAT-T because it's really wide. This is what's recommended by Canine TECC for treatment of massive hemorrhages because you can't really use a cat tourniquet on dogs. And then in here, I've got an elastic bandage, and last but not least, a set of hyphen chest seals. Hyphen works great. I believe there is something else that's recommended more for canines because it's got more adherent properties, especially with all that hair. The other item I have on the front of this vest is a push-to-talk system, and this is something that was issued to me. I don't really even know the brand. But this just sticks right on this loop field here. It's not going anywhere, and then to activate my mic that is attached to my Helmet Ear Pro, I just hit this button. I put this S carabiner on here because this wire here, the stuff coming down from the helmet is really, really long. So I like to route that through this and it just kind of keeps that wiring over my shoulder and I don't really have to worry about it. So the S-biner works pretty well there. And then I have this wire routed all the way up and to the back of the vest. So that wire is attached to my radio. This is a Motorola radio. I'm not super big on this kind of thing, so I'll just leave whatever stats I find on this radio up behind me, so you can look at that if you're interested. But works pretty well. This is also the radios that all of our paramedics are using in the field, so it's pretty interchangeable. My radio is just a little bit different because it does pick up a lot of the PD's channels and the SWAT channels. So coming to the sides of the vest, there's really no attachments or anything on these bicep protectors. I just have my National Registry patch on this side, and then one of St. Fisher's patches here. It says whole blood is greater than pasta water. The unfortunate part of that is we don't carry whole blood, so it's kind of tongue-in-cheek because they don't give us that. It's really hard to store. On the other side, I usually have the unit identifier, but I just took that off in order to remain a little bit anonymous on the internet. Back of the vest is relatively underwhelming, but like I said, I've got an identifier patch from patch panel here on the back, and you can customize these anywhere you want if you pick one up. And then down here, I have a pretty cheap gas mask holder, but what I use this for is actually a Mega Mover. So a Mega Mover is a big stretcher. It's a big soft stretcher that I can pull out really quick, put an injured law enforcement officer on the back and drag them to safety, or if I have more people, I can actually carry them out on this. So you really need to be thinking about the way you're going to evacuate your casualties, especially if they have full armor on. The drag handles on most vests are not meant to really support that much weight. They're meant to carry the vest, not the person. So I would recommend getting something that you can carry somebody. There are also a bunch of upgrades you can get for these drag handles. I don't have one, however. So one thing I forgot to mention about this vest is its armor capabilities. This vest has 3A soft armor in it as a primary, and then it also has polyethylene plates in the front and back. They're size small SAPI plates, and those are for your rifle threats. I believe they're level 4 protective armor. Now, I really like the polyethylene plates because they are so light. I actually have a review on a set I'm really excited for down the road. But the polyethylenes are nice because they weigh about 2 pounds each instead of the 8 to 10 pounds a steel plate will weigh. When you already have about that much weight in soft armor, it's really nice to have some lightweight hard armor in here as well. So this is an awesome vest. I do have a couple small gripes about the C-Jar. One of the really known problems with this particular vest is that its shoulder straps are really big. And the same is true with the mast system in place. I found that I really do have to get these shoulder pads cinched down about as tight as they can go to make it fit me. And then when you just have the stock shoulder straps for the C-Jar, you have to get the extra small. I don't know anybody that would fit much bigger than that. So that's one of my gripes with it. Altogether though, this thing is an awesome vest. It's super lightweight, super high quality, saves a lot of the weight because it does not have that MOLLE webbing on it. It's just the laser cut nylon. And then you don't have a ton of big pockets. You can kind of put whatever you need on it for your particular mission. If you guys have any questions about this vest or anything else I talked about today, please leave them in the comments down below, and I will see you next week.